Hey Rockford fifth graders, welcome to week 3 of the school year. In this video today, we are going to talk about types of maps as well as scale. So those are going to be the two big topics for this video today. As with our other lecture videos, please make sure that you have your science notebook with you because you will be taking notes in your science notebook. We're going to be making two different tables today, and my expectation is that they are both fully completed when I see you in person. So please make sure that you get this notes down and the vocabulary word down for this video. That way, when we get to school, we can do our hands-on fun learning. So I'm excited to get busy with that. So here we go, types of maps. All right, so please make this following table in your science notebook. On one side, you're going to have your types of maps, and then on the other side, we're going to do some examples of these maps. So again, this is the point in the video where you can pause the video, you can copy down this table, and then we can get going. So pause now if you need. All right, the first map I want you to talk about is a mobility map. Now, this is anywhere that helps you get directions somewhere, helps you get from point A to point B. So some examples of this are road maps or even Google Maps. So on our types of map side, you're going to write mobility map. And then on your example side, you can write road map or Google Maps. So this is the one you probably use a lot, or your parents may use a lot as they are driving you around. Again, pause the video if you need. We're going to kind of continue on though. So here's a picture of an old school road map, and here's the more technologically advanced Google Maps. All right, the next one is a thematic map. So this one, it shows a theme. And the theme can really vary, but the most common one that you're probably used to seeing is a weather map or a climate map. So here we've got amount of rainfall, and so that would be a theme, right? The theme is rainfall, and it's color coded by how many millimeters of rainfall there is. This one shows the amount of water withdrawals per millions of gallons per day. And you can see again, this one's color coded as well. Now this one here, I'll move myself out of the way. This one's kind of a fun one, roller coasters in the United States. So that's a theme. So you can see that in the legend here, in our key, we can see that the bigger the dot, the more roller coasters there are. So the themes can really vary. But again, thematic is the type. And then the examples are climate or weather, or roller coasters if you want to write that one. All right. Now, resource or economic maps. Okay, these are maps where they show where resources are located within a country or within a state. These are really useful for when people are like researching on different types of countries, things like that. So some examples would be coal, oil, or solar capacity. So this one, for instance, shows that solar capacity example where would be the best place to put solar panels, those kinds of things. How much sun are they getting? This one is the more traditional resource map. This one shows where the fuels, power, minerals, and metals are. So here are all of our fuels, electrical power, those kinds of things, and you can see where they are on that map. Now an inventory map, this one shows a close-up area of some place that's kind of small. Usually it's an inside setting, for example, a stadium or a school. So in our classrooms, we all have examples of this inventory map near the doors usually, where they show kind of the exits of how to get out or what your fire escape route is. If you were trying to find your seat at a stadium, like the US Bank Stadium, sadly not this year, but during a US Bank Stadium game, you could find your seats there. So this one you can actually see on the website because it has the prices of season tickets. So you can see it's color coded by that. Now, another example of this would be a mall map. So let's say you want to find where the Nike store is. You can look on the little mall map and find Nike store, and then you can find it in the map. Inventory. General reference maps. These ones I consider what you would see in your typical social studies classroom. They show boundaries of countries, they show boundaries of cities, sometimes they show what the capital cities are in each one. They really are kind of just your standard map. So here's like a standard world map where the boundaries are shown, the titles of each country are shown. Here's a map of the United States where each of the capital cities have a little star by them. Again, these are probably what you're used to seeing in social studies classrooms. Now the last map I want to talk about is a topographic map. This one shows changes in elevation. Now, two examples of this are hiking maps or a lake depth map. And so if you like to go fishing, you may be familiar with seeing something like this. And so each of these little lines, they tell us a certain elevation. We are going to be working a lot with topographic maps this year, just because they are probably the toughest ones to understand and get used to working with. As you can see, this one looks very confusing. We are going to be making a topographic map in school, so just be excited for that. So we are going to be working quite a bit with these. These are also probably, though, the hardest ones for students to understand, just because they are a bit more complex. So topographic shows the changes in elevation. Now, I actually use a topographic map. One of my hobbies I like to do is go hiking. So I hike along the Superior Hiking Trail, and I have a series of topographic maps. And so I can see when the steep parts are coming or when I'm going to have a nice overlook, kind of at the edge of a cliff or something like that. So those are really nice for that. If I'm using it for fishing, I want to find where the deep spots are, right? Because I want to fish for walleye in the winter. So I'm going to look for the deeper holes. This one says it's 16 feet deep. It gets down to 20 feet here. Or if I'm fishing the summer, maybe I want to fish a nice steep edge. Or maybe I'm fishing for bass in this nice flat area over here. So here's what your table should look like at this point. If you are missing anything, this would be another good time to pause your video to catch up on your notes. We will be working with examples of these in class as well. Now, there is one vocabulary word I would like you to add, so go ahead and turn to your vocabulary page. Are you there? Okay. Your vocabulary word is scale. Again, scale. That's your word. And then the definition is the relationship between distance on a map and distance on the ground. So it really tells you how big something is in real life. Obviously, our maps are much, much smaller than things are in real life. And so a scale helps tell us how far things are apart or how big the building is or anything like that. So it can be shown in a couple different ways. And one is just a sentence where 1 centimeter represents 250 meters. So if I look on the map and it's 1 centimeter apart, I know that in real life it's 250 meters. Now it can be written in a different way, where 1 centimeter is equal to 25,000 centimeters, which is 250 meters. But one of the more common ones is this bar scale here. And what this is that you can take your, like a piece of paper or a ruler and say, okay, if I want to measure something that's this far apart on a map, I can hold it up to my scale and I can see, okay, that is this many meters in real life. So it just kind of is a bar scale, so it can show you how far apart it is in real life. Now, one of the more confusing parts is that there are small scale maps and there are large scale maps. A small scale map shows something that's really zoomed out. It shows a really big area, but with small details. Okay, so the objects are going to look really small on a map. So it might be a whole country or the world. It's going to be really zoomed out. Whereas a large scale map is something that's really zoomed in. This shows a smaller area, but in large detail. The objects look big on the map. They look closer to they are in real life. Now, a lot of times this feels opposite of what it should be. It almost feels like they should be flip-flopped, which is very, very confusing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a little table in our notebooks as well to help us remember this. But again, a small scale map is going to be like a world map or a whole state map. It's going to be really zoomed out. A scale is going to be like something more like 1 to 250,000, right? Where 1 centimeter on the map is really far in real life. Whereas a large scale map is far more zoomed in, right? It might be of like a park. And that's where 1 centimeter on the map is only 2,500 centimeters in real life. So it's much closer to the real size than the world map. Again, confusing. I know, we'll practice this. Don't worry. Now, here's this table I would like you to make in your science notebook as well. This will be nice for us to reference if there's a test and one of the questions are about small scale or large scale maps. This will be helpful for you. Now again, large scale maps are more zoomed in. They show a lot more detail. It's something like a map of a school. your scale is going to be something like 1 to 24,000 versus that small scale map is like 1 to 250,000. It's really zoomed out, really far away. So that way it can't show a lot of detail. It just can't be as detailed when it's that far away. This is going to be something like a world map or a map of the United States, or even if a state is a small scale map. But a large scale map is going to be something more zoomed in, like Lions Park or Rockford, something smaller. Now, I know that that was very confusing and a little bit of flip-flopping. Hopefully you paused along the way, you were able to take your notes down in your notebook. Again, this is something that I expect you to have done when I see you in school in person next. Okay, this is so that way we can do our hands-on science and do our projects and get outside and do those kinds of things in person versus taking the time in person to take our notes. I'd rather us take our notes here, and that way when we're in person, we can be all in. So, also this week, you will be using Edpuzzle. Now, I'm not sure if you used this last year or not, but if you have not, what you're going to do is when the assignment is posted, we are going to put that into, I'm going to put it right into Google Classroom, of course. You're going to open it up through Classroom, and you're going to log in with Google. Okay, always log in with Google. Everything's synced through there. It's really super helpful. So again, make sure you get your notes down, rewatch as you need to. That's what this is there for. And I will see you live at some point, either virtually or in person soon. All right, thank you. Have a good day.